Hi, it's the M.L.M for the Soul channel. I do have a new topic for today. Before I begin, I'd just like to say, may the words and expressions of my mouth and the thoughts and meditations of my heart find favor and acceptance before you, Hashem. And this is the continuation of the Mesillas Yesharim, the way, which is called the way of the upright, or the path of the just, from the Ramchal, Rav Moshe Chaim Lutzato. And this is the Yafa edition from Art Scroll, and I will have a link for Art Scroll below. In case you haven't seen the Sefer, this is what it looks like. And this is part number 109. Baruch Hashem, in the last chapter, chapter 26, winding down. There'll be a number more videos just to keep them shorter so you can, absorb the information. So continuing on with the trait of Kedushah, which is chapter 26, which is called Holiness. So last time I did a short video which talking about how the Kadosh elevates what he eats, and it's like bringing on the altar. So now the Ramchal continues. So although the context of the above statements of the sages was food and drink, this phenomenon applies to all things. And he says, and in this way we may understand similarly with regard to any object of the physical world that the Holy One may use, since they are already attached to the holiness of Hashem, blessed be He. It is indeed an elevation and benefit for that object that it merits to be used by a righteous person. Indeed, the sages of blessed memory have mentioned this concept with regard to inanimate objects in Chulin 91b, and concerning the, quote, stones of the place, from Bereshis 28, verse 11, that Yaakov took and set under his head. And Rav Yitzchak said, this teaches that all the stones gathered to one place, and each one was saying, upon me shall the righteous one, meaning Yaakov, lay his head. Here the commentary says that the stones were then miraculously fused into one stone, as he says, see above chapter 1022. And the Ramchal cited this teaching in chapter 1 when explaining man's ultimate purpose in this world. And he continues, thus it is a privilege for an object to be used by a righteous person. And now the Ramchal summarizes the meaning of Kedushah as explained in this chapter. The principle of the matter is as follows. The essence of Kedushah is that a person be so attached to his God that even during whatever material action he performs, he is not separated from and does not budge from his attachment to Hashem, blessed be He. This divine attachment is so great that the physical objects that he utilizes for any of his needs are more elevated by virtue of his use of them than the degree to which he descends from his level of attachment to Hashem and his elevated spiritual state by his use of physical objects. The commentary says that while any involvement with the physical is a descent toward earth from the spiritual realm in which the soul of the Kadosh travels, he remains so strongly attached spiritually that his actions elevate the physical to a greater extent than he descends from the spiritual. Thus, his every physical action results in an overall spiritual benefit and ultimately elevates the glory of Hashem rather than diminishing it. Additional commentary says that the Ramchal states clearly that the Kadosh must, quote, descend somewhat from his exalted state of, quote, traveling among the concepts of true knowledge in order to engage in material actions. But in doing so, he brings about an even greater elevation of the material world. So ultimately, the world is more holy as a result of his actions. While this elevation of the material comes at the cost of a minor, quote, descent for the Kadosh, this is of no concern to him. Ramchal stated in chapter 19 that even one who has reached the level of Hasidus is concerned solely about the enhancement of Hashem's glory and not at all about his own benefit. Even his own spiritual benefit, meaning he's not concerned with anything, even his own spiritual benefit, and it says there to see note 143 in chapter 19. And the Kadosh has ascended to an even higher level than Hasidus. Thus, since his physical actions bring about an elevation of Hashem's glory, it is worthwhile for him to interact with the physical world. This is in contrast to the Tahar, whose actions are pure of any impropriety, but still do not elevate the physical to such an extent. That is why Ramchal stated above that it would have been better if he could have entirely avoided involvement with the physical world. And there he also says, see note 15. Okay, and then he continues now. Where was it? Okay, so here he says, this last section here, for today, this ability to elevate material things to the realm of the spiritual is limited to those who have fulfilled all the criteria of Kedushah. However, this ability to elevate the physical is possible only when one's intellect and mind are firmly and constantly focused on the greatness of Hashem, blessed be He, His exaltedness and His holiness. to the point that he is in a state in which it is as if he actually connects with the celestial angels, even while he is still physically in this world. I have already said that a person cannot do anything to actually accomplish this on his own, but only to arouse himself to the matter and strive toward it. But even this can be done only after one already has acquired all the good character traits that we have mentioned up to here, from the beginning of Zehirus in chapter 2 through the trait of fear of sin, chapter 24 through 25. Only with this preparation can one, quote, enter into the holy. Commentary here says that stylistic citation of Vayikra 16, verse 3, referring here to embarking on the pursuit of Kedushah. And then he continues, and then it continues, enter in the holy and succeed, he says, for if the first traits from Zerizos through fear of sin are lacking in him, then he is like an outsider or a blemished person with regard to this service, about whom it is stated in Bamidbar 18, verse 4. An alien should not approach to perform the service of Hashem. And here the commentary says that the Ramchal compares the divine service performed by the Kadosh to the service of a Kohen in the Beis Hamikdash. Just as a, quote, an outsider, meaning a non-Kohen, or even a blemished Kohen may not perform avoda, which is the service in the Beis Hamikdash, from Vayikra 21:21. So too, one who is a quote, an outsider or, quote, blemish may not practice the trait of Kedushah. With regard to the service of Hashem, quote, outsiders and, quote, blemished ones are those who have not attained all of the previous levels or who still have some character deficiency. It also says Sima or Hamasila. And then he continues here. And he continues. But after he has readied himself to reach this level with all of these preparations, meaning the attainment of all the previous traits, if he will increasingly attach himself with the strongest love and the most powerful awe to the contemplation of the greatness of Hashem, blessed be He, and the immensity of His exaltedness, then he will gradually detach himself from physical matters. And in all of his endeavors and all of his movements, he will direct his mind purely to the hidden paths of the true attachment to Hashem. And I forgot to say something before from the last comment. I just noticed that it was in a parentheses. It says that the practice of the Kadosh in elevating the material world draws on the hidden wisdom of the Torah. This wisdom is not the province of those who have not reached the highest level of scholarship, personal refinement, and divine service. And so meaning this is not those who haven't reached don't have this wisdom. And then it also says, see Mishnah Berurah 98:1, an additional comment, because this is on the one where it says an alien should not approach. So sorry, I missed that. I didn't notice that. And the additional comment on that also says that Rabbi Yecheskel Sarna in his Iyunim makes a remarkable assertion. The barriers to the exalted level of Kedushah exist only during the weekdays, but on Shabbos, all Jewish people at any level that they may be can connect somewhat to the sublime level. The Gemara teaches in BeEzrat 16a that Shabbos is Hashem's gift to the Jewish people, given specifically to know that I am Hashem who makes you holy. Those words are from Shemos 31, verse 13. Thus, Kedushah, holiness, is available to every Shabbos observer. The mitzvah of Oneg Shabbos, which is to delight in the Shabbos, includes partaking of physical pleasures in honor of the day. Surely the meaning of this mitzvah is not that people should sink into materialism on Shabbos. Rather, Shabbos is a day in which the very physical nature of the world can be transformed into spirituality by each and every person. In Ramchal's words above, Kedushah gives a person the ability to walk this earth as if he were already in the world to come. Indeed, Mechilta to the above verse remarks that the holiness of Shabbos is akin to the holiness of Olam Haba. Also see Bereshis Rabbah 17:5. On Shabbos, every Jew, in some sense, walks in the world to come while still in this world. And even as he enjoys physical pleasures, he can elevate all the creation with the spirit of Kedushah. So that's a great thing to think about, like on Shabbos, that we're all able to do that. And then he continues, and then there's a commentary to what I just said here about if he prepared himself to get, then he can get attached to true attachment to Hashem. And then here the commentary says that this refers to the esoteric intentions that a Kadosh has when engaged in any action, even non-mitzvah material ones. Also see Mesillas Yesharim Seder Vikuach, chapter 28. Gradually detaching himself from materialism will enable him, when performing physical actions, to focus completely on their spiritual content. Meaning, even the physical, he can focus on the spiritual content of it, even while performing those. And then to finish up here, once on the path of Kedushah, he will continue to do so until a spirit of Kedushah flows upon him from on high, and the Creator, blessed be He, rests His name upon him, as He does for all of His holy ones. then he will be on the level where he is like an actual angel of Hashem. And all of his deeds, even the lowly and physical ones, will be like the offerings and divine services performed in the Beis HaMikdash. I'm going to stop here, and I want to say, I hope and pray that we all merit to live and see the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days and in building of our final and everlasting Beis HaMikdash. Amen, and thanks for watching.